whenever you go to take a piss on the toilet, and then whenever you lift the toilet lid up, you see that there's like a bunch of shit and toilet paper in there because for whatever reason you forgot to flush the toilet last time you took a poop, and you find out that it's just been sitting in the toilet this entire time, and then the smell just bombards you. Man, that's the
Oh,
It's
worst.
very
oh,
graphic.
you
really
think that?
don't know anymore.
You think that's bad? Try living with other like roommates and they clog one of the toilets, and then the person that comes to unclog the toilet has to use tries to plunge the shit out of it. By the way, that thing's been sitting in there for over 2 nights, 2 to 3 nights.
Yeah.
Then, so she plunges the shit out of it, and then the smell it just overflows from that bathroom, hits the hallway, it almost reaches the living room, and I'm just like, Jesus Christ, I can't.
Oh, that sounds sick.
Why am I suddenly feeling very sick right now?
I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe it's because of today's topic regarding loot boxes.
Talking about shit.
Yeah, talking about shit stinking.
Well, I mean, what's the difference? We're talking about loot boxes. I mean, what's the difference?
So the other one you can't.
I mean, the other one thing makes you sick to your stomach, while the other one makes you sick to your stomach.
And also leaves your wallet drained.
Yeah.
So, I mean, hey.
You shouldn't poop with your wallet hanging out.
That is
Anyways,
true.
let's keep
I
going.
can't tell you how many wallets I've lost to accidentally flushing them down the toilet.
Ripperoonie.
Yeah.
Pepperoni.
But yeah, anyway, so we're talking about loot boxes today and our little maybe part 3 of the AAA shit, but they're not talking about AAA shit. Then we're just talking about the loot boxes. And we've discussed previously in other videos about loot boxes and, well, at least one of our videos, loot boxes and why they're in video games, according to extra credits. And then we tell them, hey, why do I need to pay more money for this shit when I'm already paying $60 to play this fucking thing?
That is true.
And they're like, but my AAA studios, and it's just, and then they break down the cost, and we're like, God damn, you guys are so goddamn inefficient with that shit. It is, and if you literally cut this part of the AAA development cycle, you could save like 10%. And they're like, oh, but that's just 10%. Yeah, 10% of like, what was it, 7.5 million? That's like,
yeah.
That's or 70 million. I can't remember how many millions, but you're still saving about like several hundred thousands of dollars. Which, yeah, by the way, you could put that to opening up a new studio or something, maybe like a small one. I don't know. That's just me.
Man, you know, speaking
That's
of
crazy
small,
talk.
I can't remember if we talked about this last time or not, but I recently found out that Phoenix Wright was made by like a small team inside of Capcom made up of like 10 people.
Oh.
Huh, isn't that weird? With a small budget that they're able to make such a good game. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, and not to mention such limited hardware as well.
Yeah. Huh.
But yeah, that was like a different. Honestly, you gotta remember that was like a different time. This is before the, you know, the PS3, 360, and the Wii came out. This was like during that still golden time where AAA development wasn't really too expensive. I mean, people were trying to shoot for best graphics, but it's like the PS2, it was just, there was no way to do it on that thing. Your best bet was either the GameCube or the Xbox. Even then, it is still not realistic enough by those standards. It's once we hit the PS3 and 360 where AAA budgets start to go up, and they just kept rising as the years went on, and people kept trying to aim for the best graphics ever.
Which is funny because Phoenix Wright is like 2D sprites in the era of 3D models, and that game still holds up better than almost every other AAA looking game out there right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna also match that with like another series, Pokemon. You could put it's like I will choose the sprite work in Gen 5 any day of the week over the 3D models in the future in Gen 6 and Gen 7 games.
Yeah.
I mean, those sprites were so freaking. They were fully animated, and they were having the Pokemon do a lot of. Just move around a lot, while in the 3D space they're just kind of like static.
Not to mention in Gen 6 is if you have the 3D on. Oh boy, that frame rate. So good.
Mm-hmm. That silky smooth 10 frames a second frame rate.
Yeah.
I love how in Gen 7 they just turn this shit off. You can't even use it.
Yeah, I kept trying to use 3D and it wouldn't let me.
Man, you know what's sick? Building a console specifically designed for 3D and then no game ever using it.
Oh yeah, and promoting the shit out of your TV and 3D video games.
Man, that's sick. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good.
Yeah, those were the times. But now we're in the greater times. The times of DLC that's taken out of the full game and just sold right back to you. Loot boxes, which take items from the game and sell it back to you in, little, in terms of, like, grab bags or, like, mystery boxes. Literally,
yeah, isn't that fun?
Just having, like, the game have a rendered version of Mr. Burns that says, oh, hey, you guys can buy this thing, or you can have what's inside of this mystery box.
Excellent.
Hmm?
Excellent. Hey,
So,
a boat's a boat. You don't know what the mystery box could be. It could even be a boat.
then why don't we just take the... It's
Oh,
like
God. Oh, Family Guy.
It's like, then why don't we just take the boat? We'll take the box.
Yeah. Fuck it, we'll take the box.
Literally, everyone else gets a boat while they get tickets to, like, a shitty comedy club. Alright, well...
We get started with this cancer?
Yeah, let's get started with it. Let's stop delaying the inevitable. I'm running on tired. So, we're talking about... They're discussing the loot box question and designing ethical loot boxes. Oh boy, I'd love to hear these design ideas of these guys. By that I don't.
Hell yeah.
God.
Absolute best.
Absolutely Harambe.
Let me raise up the screen before
It's
like
Harambe.
the background is caught.
Rip Harambe. When's Harambe Day?
Not soon enough.
I think
oh wait, actually, Harambe Day already passed because we're not in Black History Month anymore.
Damn it! You stole my joke. I was going to say, when are we going to get a national Gorilla Awareness Month? Oh wait,
No.
sorry, it's February.
Well, you're too late with that joke. So let's get.
You stole it from me, you fucker.
Well, I'm black. That's what we do. Now let's get to this film.
Guys,
there is a lot wrong with the way our industry
when they shot an
does
African American male.
And never apologized for it.
They never apologized for it. Let's fucking go.
Yeah, let's do this.
There is a lot wrong with the way our industry does loot boxes. We've seen loot box systems that are game-breaking, others that are exploitative, some that are even downright unethical. And if that has made you wary of this monetization model, I can't blame you. But I'm not sure I'm on board with the demands to eliminate the model entirely, or even to never put them in $60 games. It's complicated, let's talk about it.
Okay, before we continue, let's just take bets right off the bat. How much you want to bet he'll completely destroy all of his points with one really, really short suggestion at the very end of this all?
I hope.
Well, that usually happens when he does this kind of thing. But the reason why I really wanted to get to this is the ending, because I want to catch you guys' hot take on it. It's really good.
Well, to be honest, that opening statement about, like he thinks that, loot boxes shouldn't be taken out of games. I can actually kind of understand the sentiment he's coming from. Just because people do loot boxes fucking retarded as shit, that doesn't mean that, there isn't a place for them. But then that would be me agreeing with him. And I can't have that.
One thing I will say is that
fuck up the argument.
One thing I will say is that at least in terms of loot boxes, there's certain ways to do them. Now, they're not as bad as DLC, but when he says that, they shouldn't be taken out of like $60 games, or at least from what it sounds like he's suggesting, I will say that with a well, yeah, except you need to except it depends on the game we're talking about.
Yeah.
Now let's take one look at before they're probably going to get into it themselves, but one example being the obvious one, Overwatch. Now all their loot boxes completely cosmetic, like literally all of it, and it's done there to kind of incentivize continuous play, even when the drop rates for certain items are pretty bullshit. Now let's compare that to Assassin's Creed Origins, which only it's in the single player, and it gives you items which can affect which has a good amount of effects. It's not cosmetic at all. So It's a matter of where are we drawing this line for what constitutes as good loot boxes, and what constitutes as bad loot boxes. All right.
Yeah, I want to hear what he has to say about it.
All right, let's see what he has to say about it.
To start, let's review why the industry is turning to supplemental monetization models like loot boxes.
Extra
if you've watched our previous two episodes, you'll recall that player expectations for AAA game fidelity and the cost of building games to meet that fidelity standard have been on the rise for years. And
now they're starting to lower over the years as well.
Like, I don't know if we did mention this back in the day, or, back in the other video, but the only reason why prices do increase is because of, like, say the overinflation of, like, say, staff, for example, and the forcing of, like, say, having to use specific tools instead of, like, say, maybe tools that are cheaper, but could still get the job done.
Yeah, especially ones developed in-house now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But now we have like engines that are just basically there for free, but you just give them like parts of the royalties from your game.
Also, that lock triggers me because it doesn't have a keyway on it.
Wait, it doesn't have a what?
It doesn't have a keyway. A spot to put the key into.
Oh, yeah.
It triggers me.
Rip. Alright, let's keep going.
Can't even get
yet
that
the purchase price for a AAA game remains locked at $60, regardless of rising costs or inflation, and that's starting to get untenable. If you want to learn more about that, I recommend checking these two episodes out later. The ultimate dilemma, though, is that AAA studios need to see higher profits to match the higher costs, but they can't do so by raising prices. James was at a convention a few weeks ago, and he asked the audience, how many of you would buy just as many games each year if they cost $80? 2 people out of an audience of hundreds raised their hand, and that is what the games industry is afraid of. And so they've been...
Don't people already do that, though, by buying the collector's edition of every single game that comes out every year?
I don't know. That depends on, like, how... do we even have figures of how much these collector's editions sell each year?
Yeah, like, because it's like, I know whenever I do actually buy a physical version of a game, sometimes I do like to splurge and get the special edition on that shit, Like, I know I do that for all the Senran and Kagura games, despite those being the only physical editions.
Well,
I mean, that for, like,
at least for PBS it is.
Well, the thing with the thing about like the collector's editions is, I mean, for the Senran Kagura games, they're just priced at the same price as like a physical copy, so you're basically paying like the same.
Well, amount, actually, they're actually cheaper, usually being at like $50, and it comes with an art book and soundtrack, like sick.
Yeah, And another thing I would like to bring up is there were some collector's editions that didn't even actually come with the game at all.
Yeah.
So you're basically just
those
buying...
are hilarious. I love those.
Those are the worst.
Don't you love when you buy Wolfenstein Special Edition and you're like, damn, I can't wait to play where the fuck is the game?
Wasn't that also the case with Assassin's Creed Origin?
I'm pretty sure it
In
was.
Evil 7.
I know it was. I
don't know if it completely was, but I know Assassin's Creed Origins, it had the most expensive collector's editions I have ever seen.
Another game that also
sure you don't
had
remember
like a collector's edition without the game was Mirror's Edge Catalyst. Is that what it's called? Catalyst, right? Yeah.
All the
That
EA
didn't
games,
improve
they
the game
did
at
that
all.
shit.
Yeah, EA was notorious for that. Oh yeah, by the way, that Assassin's Creed Origins collector's edition, $800.
Yep.
It could be not Assassin's Creed, Saints Row the Third, and it'd be like $1 million special edition.
Oh yeah. Fuck.
That was
forgot
actually
about
that was
one.
actually a thing.
Didn't that version also come with like the giant like dildo bat? Yes, it did. I
Okay,
don't
let's just keep going.
Exploring supplemental revenue models to make up the difference. We've tried subscription fees and DLC, microtransactions, season pass.
Wait, okay. Before we continue, subscription fees for an MMO.
One kind of makes sense.
Yeah,
Everything
well,
else having a
see.
sub, not so much.
Yeah, I wonder why. It couldn't be possibly because of all the maintaining the servers for a massively multiplayer online game or something. Yeah. I'm being crazy.
Pills.
All these things so far though are like more than fine supplementary income and have helped out a lot of games. So I think with him saying, "Oh yeah, we've had all of these," because I know next he's going to say, "Oh, that hasn't quite worked out as well as what it could have." So that's why we have extra things like loot boxes, which would then imply that DLC, subscription fees, season passes, all of those have failed, yet they still keep doing them.
Mm-hmm.
So then that would mean that he's lying. All of these do work, and that stuff like loot boxes are there because the devs can program something really easy to get extra free money.
Yeah, so they can rub their hands real fast to where they catch on fire.
Yeah, because do you think companies like EA and Activision really need all of that extra money? Do you really think?
Fuck no.
No, they don't. They really don't. And it's weird that they're the only ones really doing that. Huh. Weird. Huh.
Really,
it's weird.
really makes you think.
Not like I know it's still early into the video. We're only about like a minute and a half in, but it's like, isn't it weird that games designed entirely around loot boxes, like say for example, gacha games, are able to completely survive with the base game being free and all updates being free at the same time? Isn't that weird?
I mean that every game should be a gotcha game now.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I'm just saying, you don't like if you're charging $60 for a game and also including loot boxes, then I wonder. But I want to hear what he has to say about it.
Okay, let's see what he says about it.
Passes and collector's editions, but our most successful experiment so far is loot boxes. And it's not that surprising that they're so successful. They're basically the video game equivalent of a Magic the Gathering booster pack. And the thing you gotta know about Magic booster packs is that for a very long time, they were the highest earning per user monetization item in all of gaming. It's a time-tested and extremely successful model. Now, obviously, the benefits of this model for the developer are huge. Loot box content is generally far less expensive to produce than DLC or expansions, and the possibility for duplicates inevitably means that players will end up purchasing more content than the devs actually make. Done well, it handily solves that $60 price tag problem. And
Okay,
I would
wait,
argue
sorry.
that this benefits players in some...
Hold on, wait, sorry, pause it.
Yeah.
So, it's good to fleece the customers of extra money.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure I got what I just wanted to make sure that he was saying that the customer should be forced to pay extra just because.
Yep, that's exactly why.
Okay.
It's not really become, it's just more, if you're new to extra credits, it's more and more clear how much these guys are possibly in bed with the people making these AAA developed titles at the big studios like EA, Activision, or Ubisoft.
Yeah.
Yep. Or they come to defend like the devs to the points where it just doesn't really make sense.
Yeah,
or it's flat out stupid.
This is just straight up being a general apologist for like these companies' business practices that basically says "fuck you" to the consumer. But they're saying like, oh no, you guys should. I know these guys are shitting directly into your mouth. Oh no, wait. Let me try that again. I need to channel my inner extra credits. So I know you guys are thinking that these big companies, it seems like there's probably shitting in your mouths. But I'm going to tell you right now that the shit in your mouths are coming from companies that are trying to make good games and good experiences for you. So you just need to buckle up, swallow that shit whole, and just keep paying $60 in extra money for season passes and loot boxes.
That, and also, just one other thing before we watch the video again. The difference between, say, something like a Magic Booster Pack and, say, loot boxes is that Magic Booster Packs, after you open them, they hold real world value. You could actually choose to resell something like, say, cards that you get in a Magic Booster Pack. Whereas something like in, a loot box game, you can't resell that shit unless you sell the entire account associated with it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, oh, okay. So you could have something with real world value, something with actual physical merit, like say a Magic Booster Pack. Or you could do the same exact thing in a video game for something that has no value whatsoever besides the game just arbitrarily putting an arbitrary price on it.
And then you can make an argument. You can make an argument saying like, especially in the case when you get dupes, because those are the really fun sections of loot boxes in video games. Especially when you pay money for loot boxes and still get duplicates. Yeah. Is that hey, you'll get like some in-game currency for those. Yeah, but in the case of Overwatch, you barely get a dime. Well, They probably fixed it since then, but during the early days, that shit was terrible. Well,
a better example of this would be like Gears of War 4, where there's like a special rare kind of loot box, and it costs like $10 or $20 for it, and you could get duplicates.
Sick.
Yeah,
pretty cool, great.
Huh? Yeah, it feels good, right?
Oh, that's great.
Mm-hmm. But God, it was just like with each event in Overwatch, the drop rates got worse and worse, and it just to the point it just got really unbearable, and people got super pissed off.
Yeah, you get that right.
Just bursting with rage.
I know, Jesus Christ. The anger is just flying everywhere.
Just flowing out. Just squirting all over the place. Okay. Let's keep watching. Yeah. Okay. The people in the audience are not gonna get this, but there's no way we could actually post this in the videos. Let's just say we're messing around with background images and watch together.
Yeah.
All right. Let's keep going.
Some significant ways as well. I see a lot of people complain that games with loot boxes are trying to make everybody pay hundreds of dollars to enjoy the game, but it's
because it are.
Yeah.
At least
They
in
totally are.
cases like Assassin's Creed Origins, yes.
Yep. The
All
game
right.
prided on historical accuracy, but in the museum context, they're like, "Oh, this isn't actually historically, correct, but we just wanted to change it just because."
Mm-hmm. All right, let's see where he's going with this.
It's actually the exact opposite case. Some players
Nope.
being willing to spend hundreds of dollars on these
No,
games
we actually
is what
don't
makes
want
it easier.
people to spend money.
Wait, what?
No, he's like, "Oh, but it's actually the exact opposite of, wanting people to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to enjoy the game. Obviously, they put loot boxes in just so that way no one uses it and they fucking wasted their time with it." That's some galaxy brain level thinking right there.
Maybe this guy isn't watching Rick and Morty, but he's absorbing the show into his soul.
Osmosis.
Maybe.
For osmosis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's see if we can absorb their knowledge through osmosis as well.
For the industry to sell these games at the more
fucking hope
affordable
not.
$60 price. Those big loot box spenders are subsidizing that $60 price tag for the rest of us. And obviously game companies...
Wait, hold on. Go back. Let me, I need to do a double take of this shit.
Exact opposite case.
He's going
Some
there.
players
He's
being
going
willing
there.
to spend hundreds of dollars on these games is what makes it easier for the industry to sell these games at the more affordable $60 price. Those big loot box spenders are subsidizing that $60 price tag for the rest of us. And obviously game...
Wait, so I don't get it. So games can only stay $60 if there's loot boxes, but games have been selling at $60 before loot boxers?
No, what he's saying is that because these AAA studios are spending more and more money to sell their crappy games, the $60 is they say the only reason that they can continue selling games at $60 is because they include loot boxes in them that people will spend money on. Now, oh god, I hate.
So he was also saying, okay, because devs know that people are going to, spend money on this shit, and that's fine because they're the ones helping to do it. But isn't that exploiting those people's fucking, tendency to want to whale in games?
Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to know.
Yeah, but it's just absolutely ridiculous. Just the sheer audacity of these guys just going about the whole loot box thing. Just these people are gonna keep spending money on keep spending money on this stuff. So that's the only reason why we could keep it at $60. No, you guys could there's ways for you to save money while developing these games, but you guys don't want to take the steps to do it. You guys want to spend this money. We discussed this in the previous video, but it's not that AAA studios don't want to save money. It's that these guys want to spend this money to do it. And the amount of money they're spending on developing the game, they have to spend the money to advertise it, or else no one's gonna know about their game because of the amount of money they throw into it. Now, it's kind of like justifying the whole, that's the reason why, that's the reason why AAA studio games should cost more than $60. But at the same time, there are many ways to save money during development, but these studios don't want to do it. So we're left with So we're basically left with the option of buying into these $60 incomplete games with season passes up the ass and some other microtransaction bullshit. Alright, and let's continue with the video because I can't concentrate. You guys keep changing the background.
What do you mean?
Game companies aren't doing that out of the kindness of their hearts. Higher profits are unquestionably their goal, but this is functionally what a successful supplemental profit model like loot boxes achieves. Games of increasing scale and fidelity sold at the same standard price, keeping those games affordable for more of us. And the same principle applies in the free-to-play space. I have personally gotten to enjoy hundreds of games for free because...
Okay, so the reason why people don't bitch about it on free-to-play games because, hey, the biggest reason being that the price of admission, it's free.
It's free. Nibble.
Even then, you don't even have to pay money for the stuff in that game.
See, that's I think, because I think that's what he's trying to say is that. Oh, you get to enjoy it for free because other people are being tricked into spending money on this stuff.
That's exactly what he's saying. Because there's whales, they foot the bill for everything else. So, guys, that's good. That's a good thing.
That's a good thing, Goim.
Oh, you're fucking stupid because this is what keeps the trend going. We should maybe kind of kick this while we can. Before it becomes a bigger problem than what it already is.
Exactly.
But maybe that's just me.
Yeah, there was like a rhythm game. There's a rhythm game I downloaded before on my cell phone, which I really need to re-download due to my SD card corrupting itself. It was called Sidus. Now you can get the base game completely for free, and just play all the songs, and all the songs are there. Every single song for Sidus 1 is there. Well, except for the DLC related ones, but those came way later. The base game has 10 chapters, which each hold about 7 or 8 songs. So you get a ton of songs for not even spending a dime. Now usually the game will have a cooldown period where in between songs, and sometimes an advertisement which you can usually close out of after about 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Now, and the clicks from those ads will help, I guess help subsidize the cost of the game. But if you want to avoid the ads, you just have to buy the game, which is usually about $1 to $2, which is still really cheap. And you still get a full game, and you can play any song that you like for the base game without having to wait all the time. So where am I going with this? It's essentially the cheap price of admission. If you want to do it, it's very cheap. Whereas if you don't want to do it, the consequences aren't really that severe. You just gotta wait. Same thing with these types of games that have gacha elements to them. Usually they work on a stamina-based system. And the worst that happens is that, hey, you just gotta wait. You gotta wait a while until your stamina recharges, and then you can just get back into it. Or they have items already in-game that allows you to instantly restore all your stamina without having to spend a dime. So, yeah, it's like I've been playing Shinomass, I have yet to spend a dime. Not only because
can't do it.
I can't actually do it due to me not being in Japan and having access to Japanese currency, but also because I haven't felt the need to actually spend money on that game.
I'm just saying, Goyam, you should spend all of your money on it.
Just like me, you play Fire Emblem Heroes, and you're like, damn, I can't get that one character that I really want. Now it's time to wail like crazy.
Yeah, but I have the advantage when it comes to Fire Emblem Heroes. I've never touched Fire Emblem ever at all, so I have no attachment to any characters.
Step it up, scrub. You need to get in this, and you need to get hooked hard.
No, the localization is terrible.
What are you doing not spending your fucking money?
Shoot, spending it on good localization jobs, that's for sure. That's a topic.
You're good boy.
Yeah, that's a topic for another day, or one of our previous videos. So let's get back into this one.
Yeah,
we do.
Other players were paying the developer's salary by buying loot boxes and card packs. That is a fantastic thing that I would never want to see go away. But that subsidy should be freely given. I have got no qualms with some...
Commenting on the character they got.
Oh, okay.
Some rich folks throwing tons of money at these games so the rest of us can play affordably, especially if the content they're buying is strictly cosmetic in nature, but only if they are not being conned into spending money they can't afford. And that is where this gets more complicated. Because, frankly, despite all of that positive stuff I just said, a lot of companies are deploying loot box systems that are exploitative. There are games out there using everything we know about the human brain to try to get people to spend money they don't have, and that is a legit capital P problem. Now, there are some common myths around this that need dispelling. First, you'll hear some claiming that these games are preying on children, trying to get them to spend tens of thousands of their parents' money, but this is actually very rare. It makes for a good news story, so every time it does happen, we hear about it. There are...
Okay, this section I'll actually agree with them on. Only because the stuff about kids spending a ton of money on these items, that's the fault of the parents. Because how does your kid have access to that kind of to your money like that? Which makes me think that you're not actually monitoring your kid's behavior or their activity when it comes to these freemium games.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I remember stealing my mom's credit card one time for a hentai paste site one time that said I could join for free if I just gave them my credit card info.
Okay, well, does your mom blame the hentai website or for you being a horny little bastard?
I know my mom has... I know my mom knows I have a problem.
Well, probably. I mean, like, it's not really a problem. I mean, like, we all... It was just your time of the month time of the day that you wanted to touch your dick.
Yeah, it was like at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh no, I'm doing it on the family computer while I stay up late enough just until everyone went to sleep.
That's literally what I do all the time.
Yeah.
Even then, like, they go to bed super late, so sometimes I'm just like, okay, let's just get this done now.
Yeah.
So, have you guys ever seen Horrible Bosses?
Oh yes, I've seen that movie.
Tucker Jones.
Wait,
oh yeah,
about what Jones?
Yeah, what about him?
Stealing his credit card reminds you of that story of Motherfucker Jones.
Oh yeah, where he was just like, and I reached his side and grabbed her credit card out of her purse, and that's it. They said I really fucked her over that day, and that's why they call me Motherfucker Jones. Ah man, Jamie Foxx. That was man. Why did they make a sequel to that movie?
They never will.
No, they did.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah, they did.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
It was terrible.
Oh, okay. Horrible Bosses 2.
The ending to Horrible Bosses 2 completely undoes the ending of Horrible Bosses 1. It just undoes the whole thing. Alright. Fuck. I can't even remember. What were we talking about again?
Boxes and how base they were.
Of course. Yeah, let's hear how base these boxes are.
There are also consumer protections in almost every affluent country at this point, which force game companies to refund purchases made by minors if a parent requests it. Most game companies actually hate having to deal with children purchasing their stuff because it just creates so many headaches. That said, anybody who is doing this, that is actual evil. I can't believe I have to say this sentence, but don't prey on children, please. The second and much more common discussion point.
Also,
telling Hollywood that first.
Yeah. Also, parents, please monitor if your kid is playing any kind of game. You gotta at least have some general knowledge of what kind of content is in that game. Is it possible for the kids to pay actual money to be able to do stuff in that game? If so, do not allow them to have access to your credit card. Protect that shit. Password protected. Come on, you gotta do your due diligence.
That requires work.
Or how about you just don't let your children have any electronics at all until they can prove to be fucking decent humans?
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
Because they get access to the internet too early, they'll wind up on either Tumblr or R9K.
Guys, but that requires work.
Yeah, it requires
I could
work.
just go home and masturbate. So I mean, you know what? You're all right. I'd rather just let the kid just have a tablet and let him fuck off.
I mean, I'm masturbating while we're like doing this whole thing, so.
Yeah, that's true.
So.
Yeah.
Okay, let's keep. Yep. Let us keep on moving along. Let's see what else these guys got.
Point you'll hear is that loot boxes are gambling, or are at least similar enough to gambling that they'll either cause gambling addiction, or at the very least prey on those vulnerable to gambling addiction.
Hold on.
Sorry.
It's not that it causes gambling addiction. It's that it preys on people that have gambling addictions, and the fucking psychologists that they hire to make these systems know that. Like, that's exactly why they design them for. But that's all.
We're very close to it, at least in nature.
Yeah. Okay.
You can make a case that it does prey a bit on the people who are addicted to gambling, or at least incentivizes them to quote unquote gamble with loot boxes in video games.
Yeah.
All right, but let's hear what they have to say about this.
Needs more study. It may well be true, but the only major study I've seen on the matter didn't find that to be the case. Both legally and psychologically, there's an important distinction between gambling and non-gambling, and that is the ability to cash out. Because you can't take your rare Overwatch skin and sell it back to Blizzard for actual spending money, the experience affects us differently. Video game loot boxes are less like craps and roulette and more akin to a crane game, or a blind box, or the raffle for prizes at the county fair. At least that's what the science seems to suggest right now. Again, this requires a lot more serious study. I've seen a number of psychologists...
Okay, now I'm gonna stop. Alright, before... well, actually, you go first, Asu.
Okay, because I was going to say, literally everything he just said about that is factually wrong, because the studies on this type of stuff is not that it's not considered gambling because they can't cash out. The reason why this is most similar to gambling, and why it actually is because gambling addiction isn't about whether or not you can cash out, like say the item, like if you do get what you want or you don't. It's more about the chance to get the item that you want. The thing that people get addicted to is the probability that they might be able to get something. Not if they do, because they don't care. Like in the end, sure, they get happy, say if they do get the thing and they don't, like, it's because if that's what the case was, then people would stop gambling after they get the item that they want. But studies have shown that no, that's not the case. The case is that when people are examined through this, like say they're having brain scans, right? The most activity is shown right before the reveal of the outcome, and that's whenever the stuff like say the chemicals get released in your brain that cause, like, not serotonin, like, you know what I'm talking about, the chemicals that increase adrenaline and stuff like that.
Dopamine.
Yeah, like dopamine, stuff like that. So saying that it's not gambling because you can't cash out is factually wrong.
Yeah, that is factually wrong. Also, another thing that they kind of gloss over is the reasons why people gamble. One of which is the thing you literally just said, the probability of receiving an item. Another reason is the thrill. because some people just gamble for the thrill of it. It's not so much
Yeah.
trying to win money or just trying to win in general. It's the thrill.
Yeah,
It-
that's just basically what I said, is that there's the
Yeah.
thrill of you might get something, even if they don't. So it's like, oh, okay, then can you quit lying straight to the people's faces? I mean, sure, that doesn't saying that, it is gambling because you're hooking into people that don't know they might, have that type of addiction. Sure, that goes against the point you're trying to make. But I mean, hey, if I trying to actually get the truth out there, right?
Yeah,
That's dumb.
it's just like so abundantly clear these guys are so deep in the pockets of AAA industries that it's like you don't even need to point it out anymore. This is
Yeah.
like they do it. They just make it so obvious to themselves that you have to be brain dead to not see it at this point. And I'm pretty sure they still use these videos to teach game development in classrooms, and they'll still eat that shit up.
Yep.
All right, let's see where he's going.
Just voice their personal opinions. Some saying, of course it's gambling, others saying, of course it's not gambling, but really it just reinforces the point. We need to actually scientifically look into this, and on a large scale. Because if loot boxes and booster packs and such are causing or triggering actual gambling addiction, that is something we need to know about. And if they're not, that's something we need to know too, because constantly insisting that they are could lead to a whole host of legal problems that
It really sounds like he really wants it to not be linked to that.
Yeah, because studies have been done about this for not just years, but decades. Like literal fucking decades studies. And that's why casinos have such strict, like say machines in casinos, for example, are forced to pay out after a certain amount of time because it has to abide by, you know, uh, gambling addiction. Because obviously, casinos take advantage of people wanting to gamble, and they know that they could totally exploit the fuck out of people if they set the machines to never actually pay out. So that's why casinos do have to pay out after a set amount of time, because then that would literally be destroying the lives of people with gambling addiction.
They already do that anyways.
Oh yeah, they already do that, but it's like they have certain measures in place already because of certain laws, because of studies done on this for decades. So it's saying that there's no studies done on this is a total lie, because there has been, and in cases extremely similar to this.
One thing I would want to bring up is that I have a friend who had this problem really. It felt and it was like it kind of started a bit in Japan. Well, I don't know when exactly it started, but it certainly didn't help while we're in Japan, because they also had prize machines in Japan. Now,
Yeah.
I got addicted to those machines when it came to trying to win prizes. Half the time, I was trying to win the prize because I really, really wanted the prize. Other times, I just wanted to win.
Yeah.
And for one machine, I spent upwards about $45 trying to win one Love Life figure, which I probably could have just bought for a bit less of the cost. But I just wanted to win that thing.
Yeah, because it takes advantage of the point of, like, you saying, "Oh, I think I could," like not you specifically, but just people in general that do these things. I think I could. I feel like I know I could get it, and I'll get it eventually for a cheaper price than what it would be if I had to buy it. And then whenever they get close, they're like, I just need one more push, I could get it. Then they don't get it, and they're like, fuck. And then they're still incentivized to do it because, oh, well, I already spent this much money on it. It can't be that much longer until I get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's
And then that friend of mine, she was addicted to a couple different gacha games, and she spent money on a couple of them. Now, just to do like the pulls to try to get like whatever rare units she was trying to get for the specific event. One night, that kind of like the sad dose of reality of those games got to her, and it just became clear that she had a problem when it came to those types of games. I mean, to like gambling in those types of games.
Yeah.
And another one thing that I also went through was when me and my friend went to Kyoto, and the person that was running the actual shop incentivized us to keep spending our money because he kept adding more and more and more prizes to the whole thing. And we thought to ourselves, hey, once we win that thing, it balances out. It's like we come out on the green, and the more and more we lost, we thought, okay, so now if we win this, it'll even out. And then we kept losing, and just ended up in the red. And didn't win anything.
I still think he got played on that one.
Yep. Yeah. I'm pretty sure he did. But yeah, it was just like wanting to win and giving you the incentive to win. It's not all about payouts or some other bullshit like that. There's more than one factor that goes into gambling addictions, since it's a completely psychological element. It's a psychological element. There's many factors to put into place: chemical reactions, thoughts on the matter. It's like these guys focus on only one or two aspects of the whole thing when there's a bigger picture at play, only just so they can keep these companies looking good in the end.
I don't know, man. Just like at this point, it has to be like they have to be doing this maliciously. Like you can't just sit there. Like for people this quote unquote smart, it should be obvious that there are like gambling's been around since, the idea of, oh, I could fleece people from their money by giving them the illusion that they could win more. Like gambling's been around forever, and to think that there's nothing been done and people aren't complete fucking experts on this subject, in the sense of, oh, okay, I know how to exploit people. Studies have been done. Like, what's mathematically the perfect way to exploit people? Like, to think that shit hasn't been in, use for centuries, fucking even millennium by now, is fucking crazy.
Yeah. Alright, let's see where these guys are gonna head next with this.
Don't have time to get into today. But in either case, a lot of game companies are making use of B.F. Skinner's research on compulsion mechanics to create their payout schedules for loot boxes, which is the same research slot machine companies use. We can do better than that. In fact, we have to do better than that. We can make getting a loot box feel rewarding without using psychological tricks to try to manipulate players into buying more of them. Now, in the limited amount of real research that there has been on this, I have found one thread that really does sadden me. Rather than gambling addiction, those people who spend too much money on loot boxes were actually found to be suffering from some form of social anxiety or social pressure. Those who spent money they couldn't afford to often did so because they felt like they were going to let their guild down if they didn't, or because they feared they would lose their top dog status and feel humiliated if they didn't keep paying. This is something that much of the industry does still lean heavily into when designing these, and that is wrong. That is something we should never do. Beyond the...
Yeah, we should never do that. But watch it kind of go back. Watch as you'll probably go back on this, like, in the next few seconds of this video.
No, I was pretending to be smart. I actually retarded.
Or you'll just probably glance over it. You'll be like, yeah, this is evil and it's wrong. But
it's fine. But we could make loot boxes to where it doesn't do literally its exact purpose,
or make them better, where it doesn't completely cheat you out.
I don't know. I don't believe it.
Yeah. Well, let's
As
see.
no, I got an idea. How about we have a game, right? Where like every time you die, you got to pay to respawn.
But
Oh, you
one of
mean Metal
those
Gear
times
Survive?
one of those times that you respawn, you could respawn at level 99.
Respawn.
Yeah.
Pay for
So-
extra save slots.
All right. Well, let's see what these guys suggest, or let's see if they just completely go back on what they just said.
Yeah.
To look out for that stuff, because especially in the mobile and the free-to-play world, that kind of predatory approach has become so common, it's almost taken for granted today. At the end of the day, I don't have a problem with loot boxes as a monetization model, even in $60 games. When designed ethically, the loot box model allows rich folks to pay more money so the game stays affordable for the rest of us, and that is all right by me. If somebody has a bunch of money to throw around and they want to buy something ludicrous, our society generally seems pretty okay with that.
Yeah.
Pause. So he just said that it's bad that, like, the reason why people were spending that much money is because, you know, social anxiety and stuff like that. But he's also saying right here that it's fine.
It's like, as I said, watch them completely go back on it. Whereas, like, them spending this much money, just having the developers do that to make them spend much more money is wrong. And a few seconds later, but if people are willing to spend that much money, then I guess it's fine since it's subsidizes the cost. Hey, guys, keep spending that money right there, man.
Also, he says, but if we design loot boxes to be ethical without raising any points on how to do that.
Nah, it's just an idea. He doesn't really elaborate on them. It's like, hey guys, here's an idea. Okay, here's an idea, and that's my idea. And then you say to yourself, okay, how do we do said idea? And he just goes, I don't know.
What really pisses me off the most is that he suggests that whales, everything else.
Remember, whaling is fine. As long as
That's
you
what
don't
pisses
do
me
it,
off.
whaling is fine.
Yeah, you gotta hunt them whales.
Yep.
Have to send me a link to this background image.
I will.
It's like a rich person choosing to buy a Ferrari. If they want to throw
But that doesn't-
$300,000 at a
benefit
car,
everyone else.
Okay, hold on. That's not the same thing. If you throw down money on a Ferrari,
Same
you're
thing.
getting the free. You're not getting like a loot box that has a couple of Ferrari parts in there mixed in with like some Volkswagen parts or Honda parts or maybe a couple Mazda, maybe a Tesla battery or something. No, you're getting a freaking Ferrari.
You're not rolling for a transmission or a fucking radio. You're getting the whole goddamn car. You got to get a membership first, yes, but you're getting the whole fucking car.
Jesus Christ! Just imagine a car simulator game where the loot boxes are essentially car parts. God.
Well, like, not only that, but he said that earlier in the video that the people that whale in these games are good because they're the ones that help make the game, you know, free for the rest of us. But what does a rich person buying a Ferrari do to benefit me? How does that help me?
They do everything else.
You get to see a Ferrari on the freeway.
I get to see someone getting head in his Ferrari driving down the highway, right?
Yes, that's the benefit you get out of it, Atsu.
Oh, okay, I get you. Oh, well, I mean, that's a pretty good benefit. Can't go wrong there.
I mean,
Literally,
it's not you, but I mean, you get to see someone do it.
yeah.
So it's just as good, right?
It's you know, you can't argue with that kind of logic right there.
Right. You can't.
Okay.
car that looks cooler and drives better than any vehicle most of us will ever get to
Why is a
drive,
car
that
driving
is
a
something
car?
our society lets them do. Do I think they could spend that money on something better than a sports car or cosmetics in a video game? Oh yeah, definitely. Do I think that they should do better things for humanity with that money? Yeah, probably. But it's
Why?
not my money. And at least
Oh, and let me guess. If you guys have that money, you guys will benefit You'll put that money toward benefiting humanity, right? Right.
The absolute
Like extra
gross.
credits.
The absolute gross thing that he's implying right now is that the whole video is arguing about ethical loot boxes and how good they are. And he's saying that paying for bad loot boxes is bad. So is he trying to say that if there's an ethical loot box, that benefits humanity? Is he equating quote unquote ethical loot boxes as being a humanitarian effort on that person's part?
I have no idea. Just imagine, okay. What if the trick to getting world peace is within a loot box, and and the presidents of each nation have to roll for each loot box to try to get the one for world peace.
Oh no, my loot box was filled with my loot box was filled with African immigrants. Oh no.
No. The one that
Somalian immigrants. Oh no.
The one. It's like Africa rolls it, and it's like, damn, I got Ebola.
Yeah, damn, I got AIDS.
Knowing my luck, if I rolled, I'd probably get a nuclear deterrent.
Man, I'm pretty sure North Korea rolled good this time for theirs.
I got a rock. Oh.
and then
Christ.
Let's see, it's like the UK rolls theirs, and they're like, damn,
we got trucks of peace. Oh. Oh no.
Let's roll again.
No.
Oh, it's more trucks of peace.
Oh no.
Oh fuck.
And then Germany's like, all right, let's try rolling. We just got a box of rape.
Fire.
Oh Jesus.
And I think the ones we're rolling that the US is yeah.
At least, unlike the Ferrari, them buying loot boxes helps to keep the cost of games down for the rest of us. Games industry.
He really wants.
What is he? He keeps jumping back and forth between like it's like it's bad that these people really like get addicted to loot boxes and stuff. But if you're rich, then it's like, oh no, this fine. Spend all the money on loot boxes. Keep the prices low for us.
Just pick a side and stick with it. Jesus, either you're for or against them. Don't go a fucking middle road, because then you do this shit.
Yeah. It is. They're trying desperately not to piss off either. I mean, not to piss off their general audience, even though they're already plenty pissed off from their previous videos. But then they also want to remain in the pockets of the AAA industries that they're pretty much in bed with.
All I know is, can I roll a loot box that it gives anime girls thick eyebrows?
As long as I get to roll a loot box, get a loot box that gives them freckles and glasses.
Okay, that sounds good. Yeah. I'm down for those odds.
And the power to put those freckles anywhere.
Yeah.
I got some interesting locations for them.
Yeah, they're
eyeballs. On the legs.
Yeah, I actually like them on the legs.
In their buttholes.
Or why not?
Yeah.
Why the fuck not?
Yeah. On their hair.
Then you could guess you could guess whether or not that's their freckles or shit.
Yeah.
But it's sexy. Whoa.
I like the sounds of that gamble.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's.
I'll need to gamble on that fart.
All right.
Don't be evil about this. This really shouldn't have to be said. People like games. People are okay with spending money on games. Well, you don't have to make your loot boxes as exploitative as possible to maximize your revenue. You have got a solid monetization system here. Just don't break it for yourself. In fact, just look to Battlefront 2 for your object lesson. If you get greedy and drop a badly designed loot box system in front of your players, you will lose revenue like you wouldn't believe. I might come back to that Battlefront mess in a later episode because
what that game did.
It's kind of funny that it's like, as much as these guys are in bed with these AAA developers, not even they can defend Battlefront 2.
But what's so bad about Battlefront compared to literally every AAA game that has loot boxes in it?
Oh, it's because of Star Wars and Disney and EA.
Oh, so you can't rip off Disney. You know, you can't get people mad at Disney, but it's fine to get people mad at other games because they're not as big as Disney. I get you.
Exactly.
boy. But suffice it to say, your customers aren't robots. Designing a more efficient system for them to mechanistically put money in to get more money out of them won't work. Maximizing profit, in this case, isn't actually the way to maximize profit. You know what? You have a conscience. Use the dang thing. At the same time, we as an audience have to understand what we are asking for. We can't expect game makers to keep prices the same at the expense of their ability to keep the lights on. We have to find better answers.
Yes, we can, because you guys spend money on that.
If they can't find ways to, keep the lights on at that price point, then that means that they're doing something critically wrong, and the free market is doing what the free market has always done and correcting itself.
Yeah.
By getting rid of things that don't align well with the free market.
Yeah, it basically sounds like they're just they're just pissing away money if you can't keep the lights on without putting in loot boxes. That means the amount of money you're spending on your game is way too much, especially for a return like that. And this is only a case with these AAA companies, because they employ a large amount of people to work on this shit. So they have to pay.
All I'm saying is, I'm glad that Cuphead was only able to be successful because of loot boxes.
Yeah, there's like a lot of different indie games that I'm glad that are successful without ever touching a loot box.
No, you're wrong. They literally made the game and then immediately went under because they didn't have loot boxes.
Oh yeah, you're right. That's why the people who made Hollow Knight are just sinking lower and lower. They keep making DLC for that game free, even though they could easily put in loot boxes.
Fucking idiots! They could be making money off of that.
Fools.
They should have had a system where your weapons break and you had to go to the loot box emporium to get new weapons.
Mm-hmm. But you try to do that, and you keep getting new weapon skins for your broken ass weapon.
Ah, oh, damn it! And those weapon skins can also break because those are only temporary.
Imagine if you get weapon skins that are only temporary from loot boxes.
Oh, I could totally see that. That's the next level.
That's next.
Next level.
You said it. It's happening next.
That's the next evolution. And it's going to debut in the next Elder Scrolls game.
Oh, wait, no. No, you know what? Something like that has already happened. Fucking Halo 5. You could get loot packs for specific guns that you could only use once.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I hate the loot boxes in that game. The multiplayer is great, but the fucking loot boxes suck.
Yep. It's great. And you know what sucks about that in that game? If you die in that round, someone else can pick up your gun. You don't even get to keep on respawning with that weapon for that match. You have to keep that gun for the entire match.
It was good,
else, yeah. Oh my god. So, there definitely are very bad things out there. So, I mean, hey, there's ways shit could sink even lower.
Mm-hmm.
But it just would have been nice if he actually offered a suggestion of what a ethical loot box could be, or games that have done that.
It's like a typical thing of saying that there's a problem, but not really offering a solution.
Yeah.
Oh, no,
I mean, there's a difference between bringing awareness to a problem, which literally everyone out there does not like loot boxes, so everyone's already aware of it. And at least offer something. Say for example, look, I could do one right now. Say for example, something like Senran Kagura and the penny lottery. That's technically a loot box system. But at least what's good about that is fucking chances depending on how far you've gotten into it, there's only a finite number of fucking pennies you could get in that game, or like any game that has the penny lottery. Depending on like, okay, you do your first roll, you get one. It's always guaranteed brand new, and with each successful new pair of underwear you get, the odds of you getting a brand new one lower every single time. But you don't ever have to spend real money on it, because you could always increase the chances of you getting a brand new pair by just spending a little bit more of the in-game money, which comes, super duper easy. Like, I mean, you get that stuff for free. You get like 5 billion different rolls off of like completing a single mission. So, I mean, there you go. Look, it's a cosmetic item that you get for free. It doesn't exploit people, because you could visibly see what the chances are of you getting something new off of that specific one, like off of that specific roll. So look, there you go. I did the legwork for you. Boom. There you go, extra credits. You could take that one for free. And hey, look at that. It's done by a Japanese company. Huh. The game, the AAA game developers that don't have to put loot boxes in their games, because they're able to just sell AAA games at $60 and make more profit than what they actually needed. Is it? Huh.
Those don't count.
Funny how that works out, huh? And hell, Senran Kagura isn't even close to a AAA game, and they have a way more ethical system than any Western AAA developer. Like that just boggles the mind that they could have done that, huh? So weird. So weird.
Absolutely.
I don't know. I guess I won't think about it though.
Yeah, don't think about it too hard. It's like just think about those good old AAA industries and how much they want you to be a good game.
That is true.
Let's finish
That
this
is
shit.
true.
We have to reward the companies that create good loot box systems. I mean, absolutely do.
And good games. Emphasis on good games.
Well, that's the thing. Extra credits probably doesn't condone the support of something like Senran Kagura.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but they'll condone the practices of shitty games like Ass Creed or PUBG or God, let's see, Call of Duty World War II. I don't know if that game's actually bad or not, but
yeah, it's not good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right.
Get out there and complain if some company serves up an exploitative or terrible monetization system. Just don't expect supplemental monetization systems to go away. That, or just be ready to start paying $80 per game, which I don't think is anybody's preference. Besides, there is another reason we need to be careful what we ask for. Legal reasons, in fact. But I am running way too long on this already, so I will save that for next time. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next week.
I'm just glad that I could buy a Japanese game at $60, Japanese game or an Eastern European game for $60 or less, and get like an actual complete game.
He's like, oh hey, it's like, oh hey, if you guys, it's like you guys better be prepared if you guys really want these supplementary like costs to go away. Be prepared to spend more than $60 on the game. How about I don't know, better yet, how about I don't spend more than $60 on a game? How about I don't even spend $50? How about I spend $40 on the games? Because you want to know that $40 games exist, and you want to know something? They're fun. Some of them are pretty fun. And hey, if I can get an amount of fun from paying $40 rather than a bit of fun I might have to pay that I have to get from maybe paying $60 or $70, I'm gonna get the $40 game. Heck, one of my favorite games of last year, what was it, Hollow Knight? Less than $20.
Hell, I fucking spent $11-12 on them's fighting herds, and I've been having an absolute blast with that game. Like, that game's actually legitimately well designed and fun, despite only being early access.
Yeah, this is like, if you rate Because here's what's going to happen. Once you raise the price of those games, less people are going to start buying those games. They're going to be waiting for price drops.
Or hell, like look at Sonic Mania, Cuphead, the Senran Kagura games, Earth Defense Force. You know, like games like that are below $60 that I've had way more fun with than fucking almost all modern AAA games.
Yeah, and you know another stuff. I'll throw down $40 any day of the week for a Crash Insane Trilogy than I would $60 on any game that came out in the winter for $60 last year.
Yeah, exactly.
Crash Insane Trilogy was well worth the $40. Well worth it.
That's 3 whole games.
Not only is it 3 whole games, but each game is longer than most AAA games just because of, oh, hey, remember whenever games were made to be difficult in the sense of, oh, okay, it's going to challenge the skill level of the player and not only keep on challenging them, but offering them incentives to play the levels in different ways by, like, say, I don't know, finding all of the crates, finding the gems to get bonus areas and stuff like that. Huh. It's almost as if older games were designed to give players as much humanly possible content, all for the price of, you know, a regular game, like, you know, whatever the fuck at the time, you know, 60, $70, whatever. Yet those games didn't have DLC. They didn't have, you know, loot boxes. They didn't have season passes. Yet they were able to make such a huge profit that, you know, they became faces of the industry. Huh. Isn't that weird that you could just actually make a game pack full of content or just, you know, amazing gameplay that even if it is short, that it justifies it because playing the game itself is amazing. Like, who would have ever thought that that's how people could, how game developers could actually make money? Huh? That's weird. I'll never understand it. I guess there is literally no examples before of people getting paid or studios getting paid enough money to keep the lights on without having to use loot boxes or DLC or season passes. I guess it literally just does not exist.
Beyond me.
It's beyond me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm racking my brain. I can't find anything good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh well, maybe someday someone will try something like that, something experimental. But I bet a game like that would cost like $120. So, good luck with that.
Yeah.
Just can you imagine like someone making a AAA style game for less of the cost and recouping those costs with about maybe 500,000 units?
One could dream, but
wait, how could they only
that's
recoup the cost of the game with 500,000 units? I mean, that game must have costed like $500.
Shoot, it's insane.
Yeah. Insane in the membrane.
Insane in the brain.
AAA games coming out and selling like 7.5 million units without any supplemental income built into them, besides, like, say, stuff like DLC. Huh. No loot boxes in sight for games like, say, Monster Hunter World. Huh. Yet, that thing sold gangbusters. Huh.
I'm actually it's actually surprising.
I'm literally shocked.
That Monster Hunter didn't have loot boxes. That game could have easily had them.
Oh,
but
fuck,
Capcom had the common sense to think these guys will get ultra pissed off if we put loot boxes in this game. Let's not do that.
Yeah. Because, I mean, almost every single fucking game could have loot boxes put into it. Like, super easy. But, you know, thank God that there's developers that actually care about the people playing the game enough to not, straddle them with hiding almost all the content behind loot boxes. Because one of the things that really sucks about loot boxes, I think I mentioned this in another video, but say whenever the servers for these games die and you can't do loot boxes anymore, how would you ever get that content? How?
Don't worry about it.
Like, how do you ever complete a game then if you can't fucking, like get all the content for like, say if Overwatch for whatever reason just died, they shut down the servers. How do you get any of those extra costumes? Like, how do you do it? Like, that's the problem. It's like, oh, okay, you guys are artificially limiting my ability to get content for the game that has no limit to how much you could make of it because it's virtual. So maybe you shouldn't gatekeep people from the content they want by having something like loot boxes, and instead use the several other methods that have existed for a long time, to get people to do supplementary income for games. I mean, I'm just throwing out random ideas. Like, who knows if stuff like that would ever work? Who knows? Probably not, though. That's why we have loot boxes today.
Yeah.
Aren't you glad we watched this?
Oh, yeah. I love it. It's my favorite. I love watching extra credits all day, every day.
It's like when you watch extra credits, do you feel more enlightened?
Oh, yeah. It feels
Rick
great.
and Morty,
like,
or is
who
it about
knew?
the same amount?
Who knew you could learn an hour and a half worth of content from a video that's like 5 to 10 minutes? Who knew?
Yeah,
that's crazy to me.
It's like my brain couldn't handle it. My IQ needs to be a lot higher.
A lot higher. Like, I mean, so much higher that, even Pickle Rick would be like, damn.
Man, we can't go that, we can't just only go that high. We have to go so high that we can no longer go hig her.
Yeah, you got to go hig her than that.
I'm so stuck on the Pickle Rick thing. I'm sorry.
Pickle Rick.
Higher than the pickle dick.